Hi everybody, it's Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I've got a really fun quilt for you today. This quilt is called Flock of Geese, and it's an old block, and let's take a look at it back here. So you can see we have two sets of geese going here. We have the small ones and the large one, and I'm going to show you how to make those so easy. This is really a fun quilt, although it looks really difficult. To make this quilt, what you're going to need is one packet of 10-inch squares of solid and one packet of 10-inch squares of a print. The fabric we use to make this quilt is Gathering Basket by Kim Deal for Henry Glass. It's just a gorgeous line. You're also going to need about 1.5 yards for your outer border right here. We put a nice wide border on it, and we didn't use an inner border, so that saves you a little bit. And I don't think it takes away from the quilt at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide our big packet of 10-inch squares in half. And when I'm talking about a packet, I mean 42 of them. So we're going to divide that in half. Half of them we're going to make half square triangles out of by leaving the square whole. The other half we're going to cut into fourths and make small half square triangles. So let me just remind you about how I make half square triangles, and how we do that is we're going to take a colored square and our background square, we're going to put them right sides together. We're going to sew all the way around the outside edge, and then we're going to cut it diagonally both directions. Now I have a block here on this 10-inch square that I've already done that to, and a block of 5-inch squares that I've already done that to. And so you can see the little stitch marks around here, and each of these is going to be cut diagonally both directions, just how we do it when we make half square triangles. So again, we've sewn 1/4 inch all the way around, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take our ruler and we're going to cut it in half diagonally both directions. So this way and this way. And we're going to do the same thing to our little block, and I'm going to put these over here on the ironing board so that we can iron them. So again, I'm going to take my little block, my 5-inch square, and I've sewn all the way around it, 1/4 inch, and we're going to cut it both directions diagonally, just like this. All right, now we need to press these open, and go ahead and, set your seams. And just roll them back. Keep your seam allowance to the dark side of your fabric, and you can do that by just lifting them up like this, rolling them back. And we're going to open these the same way. Oh, I can't get those apart. There we go. One more right here. I knew that one more would come soon. All right, now whenever you're putting a lot of little pieces together, you need to make sure that they fit. And that's one of the challenges that I have with using pre-cuts, is making them all fit. And sometimes we have to square our blocks. Now, these squares should come out to about 3 1/8. If they do, you are golden. You're just golden. That's going to depend on your seam allowance. And mine are measuring 3 1/8. And that has to do with your seam allowance and the way you cut. So we want these 3 1/8, and then we're going to sew these together. And what we want to do is we want to sew them together so that all the geese are flying north, just like this. So we're going to go ahead and sew those together real quick like. And again, we're going to use our 1/4 inch. Make sure we're set over there at 1/4 inch. And all our geese are flying north. I guess they should fly south. Well, if we turned the block over, they'd fly south, wouldn't they? All right, let me sew. Now I've sewn the two sides together. I'm going to sew the top and middle together right here, still making sure they're all going the same direction by putting them right sides together. And we're going to make that center seam line up. So sew a little bit, line up your center seam so it nests real nice, and then just sew straight across. Now the reason we do this block first is because this block should roughly come out to 5 3/4. Actually, not roughly, pretty closely. That's the size we want it to be. About 5 3/4 or 6, just somewhere in that neighborhood, so that you want to make sure that yours are the same. So mine is coming out about 5 3/4. So then we have to make this block match this block, which means we're going to have to square it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our ruler, and any ruler that has a 45 line will work. We're going to place that 45 line on our seam line down the center. We're going to scoot this block out so that we're measuring 5 3/4, because that's what our little block measured. And we need to square it to that. And we're just going to cut off this corner right here. And that's going to give us a block that matches up identically to that. So once you get your 2 blocks done, you're ready to put these together. And we're going to want to put them together with the little geese going north, the big geese going south. And we're just going to put them right sides together like this. And so 1/4 inch down that side. Now you can do these in rows. I prefer to put them together in 4 patches. So once I get this little segment together, just like this, that's how I'm going to put all my blocks together. I'm going to put my little ones together going north, my big one going south. And then when I'm ready to put them together, I'm going to line them up like this. So it makes a type of 4 patch where our 2 big ones are meeting up in the middle. Let's make sure you can see this. So what I did, see, this is the same block here, but I'm just flipping it around, and it's going to line up like this. And all our blocks make that 4 patch. So let's sew one of those together. And you're going to need to make 42 of these blocks. Again, you want to match up that middle seam. It's only that one middle seam that you need to match up here. All the other little seams are on the wide side of the triangle, so there's no seams to line up. All right, let's press this open. So once you get your block together, it should look like this, and you're going to make 42 of those, and they're going to go together 6 across the top, 7 rows down. And when you're ready to put them together, they literally just go together like this. You're going to put them together so that 1/4 inch seam, this is the only seam you have to worry about lining up, makes your rows really simple. Let's look at the quilt for a second. So you can see here we have 6 across. These are 4 patches, 6 across, 7 down. We put a 6-inch border on the outside. It's going to give you a quilt that's about 74 by 85, pretty good size quilt. And it just comes together so much easier than it looks. And I love these kind of quilts. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Flock of Geese quilt from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.